walking down the block, I'm in the cityscape, chasing down a break, out here to meet my fate. Every day is new, every day is change. Have to ride the tidal wave as all things rearrange. Stores come and go, stories write themselves. Neighbors lived in heaven, now they're in a living hell. The city has a life that's all its own. That neighborhood was live till it died, dead and gone. This is the city life, this is the place I roam. This is the place where I reside and I just call my home. This is the city life, this is the...
So who's ready for a farm festival? You might be wondering, how am I able to write these reviews and publish them so fast when all my previous videos came out with almost months apart? The truth is that I really just read these comics and the jokes more or less write themselves. You might think I've done nothing but giving this comic the hard end of my reviewing stick, but frankly, my gloves are still very much on. This is just what happens when you read this comic and use a mixture of critical thinking and logic.
What the fuck?
I've not even talked about how Mora is the worst Mary Sue ever. So I will. Mora is this top-heavy cunt who uses and abuses, blackmails and treats everyone like dirt, and still everyone wants to help her. She does nothing to earn anyone's affection but still receives it. Like, think about it. What have you seen thus far that make anyone like her? Heck, the entire freaking comic is centered around pleasing Mora and make her come up on top with everything she does. The freaking writers have even stated outright that no lasting misfortune will ever befall Mora.
Thanks for keeping the tension up, guys.
I've not even addressed that I still don't know what kind of comic this is. Like, comedy? Drama? Slice of life? If you Google Les Linders, it says that it's a slice of life comic with both comedy and drama within it. Slice of life comics are, however, used for real life representations, being stuff we can identify with, which is kind of hard when you got spacecrafts and magic. It's not drama because you don't care about anyone enough to be emotionally invested in anyone to root for them, and it's not a comedy either because I've literally read better jokes in a cookbook.
Literally.
I've not even mentioned how Alejandra may be the main antagonist, but she's easily the most likable character in the entire thing. She's a girl who has worked hard to get to where she is now, with her only goal being revenge on a girl who stole her love away. She has not degraded herself, she's kept her chin up and always taken the hard route to get to where she is. While Mora has literally only managed to keep her farm because the writers like her more. If you're disagreeing with me here, Please let me know! Why am I wrong? What's good about this? I'm not seeing it! Really? You might think I'm giving this comic a hard time and being a huge shit about it, but I've been going so easy on this. I could have taken so many easy part shots on this comic. I could have gone into every single flaw it has. I could dissect every single dumb thing this comic has to offer. But I don't. When I said these writers were individually worse than Christian Weston Chandler, I meant it. At least Christian could have drama. At least he would put his protagonist in a bind. But just because this is made with better art and more people like it, we are suddenly supposed to forgive and forget. Some little shit stain has even said I'm doing webcomics a big disservice by giving this comic crap. But the moment poorly written garbage like this gets acknowledged as good writing, then that's more of a disservice to other aspiring writers. When shit like this, Diablo 3 and the new Star Wars movies are considered good writing, then people need to increase the standards.
But apparently it gets better from here on out, and I freaking hope so. It's not like it could get much worse.
We continue the drinking marathon that is Les Linda's by explaining what the new and improved Digit is doing for the farm. Apparently she has the ability to protect the crops from diseases. She can tell when the crops are being over or underwatered and can give them warnings when things are going bad. She furthermore helps Miles and Minos by installing advanced technical equipment on the farm. In everything shitty, there's gotta be something you like. Like, I can appreciate the art, and hey, when it tries to be hot, it can be. One of the things I liked was Mora trying to show that she could manage a farm without technical equipment and sticking to tradition. It kind of gave a small nudge to how we had grown dependent on the convenience of technological equipment in our daily life. That is of course until right the fucking minute Digit here comes in and ruins the entire fucking thing. I mean, for fuck's sake, now the fucking place is even more technological than Alejandro's business is. At least we're given a nice shot of the characters standing under the sign that says Les Lindas, and once more, nailing in the fact that these characters have grown together as a family to make this succeed.
It's kinda sad that so far 2 of the only 3 compliments I've been able to give this comic is of the exact same thing.
It's finally the day of the festival, and everyone is getting dressed up. How everyone can afford all these dresses is everyone's guess, but I won't dwell on it. Taffy explains how she gave Mora's mom's dress some few touches here and there to spice it up. What she did was quite literally nothing besides giving Mora a scarf. That's it. Rachel doesn't want to go, and the argument lasts for a whole entire page before Sarah, who totally acts like a real 17-year-old I might add, gives Rachel the puppy eyes. And you know, I kinda like these dresses. They're simple and pretty. Not as slutty and revealing as you'd expect from this comic. Before they go, however, Digit says she has a gift to all the girls from her big sister, which is obviously to change the dresses into the hottest fashion enchanted dresses on the market that apparently cost a fortune.
That's the life of a Mary Sue. Nobody likes your stories but you.
And everyone gets one. Obviously first after singling Mora out. So, after taking the nice and simple dresses and fucking them over to Final Fantasy clothes, Digit then apparently has the ability to teleport, and she teleports the crew to the heart of Gossamer, the inner halls of the city tower. Which begs the question, if the Harvest Festival is taking place inside the inner halls of the city tower, how did everyone else get there? Can they be teleported as well? Do they too have a gift from the fucking gods? And is teleportation now also a normal thing that people can do? Anyway, that's when we meet this thing, which is apparently Digit's sister, and you can almost feel how much these people wanted her to exclaim One-chan instead of Big Sis.
Also, the mention of mothers and sisters to Digit, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Hey shitbirds, guess what? If you say Digit is a reflection of Mora's soul, then she shouldn't have any siblings or family, unless Mora's siblings or family had similar things like Digit. And if she isn't created from Mora's soul, but her personality just changes accordingly to how the wielder of Digit acts, then Digit will never serve the purpose she was put into the comic by the creators for, which is to show Mora's inner innocent child. Basically, what it boils down to is that Digit cannot both be Mora's innocent child and have not been created from Mora's soul. And if she's created from Mora's soul, she cannot have family or siblings.
It's like, I'm sitting here, I'm reading this, and I think about it for a little more than 5 minutes, and then this is what happens. Did these guys ever consult their ideas with someone with any sort of logic thinking, or were they just too busy circle jerking?
So Digit's big sister Sunji guides the group, I don't know, further inside, further outside. Where the fuck are we? You'd think with this amazing art we'd have background of some sort to help us establish where we are. Anyway, she guides the group and Taffy and Rachel are talking about all the stuff that has been going on since Minos went missing. And they are speculating what Minos and Deus Ex Machina's relationship were before. I'm gonna cut the tension right here and say my money is on them fucking. With this comic, that's an easy bet. Apparently all the lights go out and suddenly BAM! Without knowing it, Mora is on top of a stage with spotlight on it outside and everyone is going, "Did you see that dress? Nice. She's so pretty. What an entrance. Wow!
That's the life of a Mary Sue.
Let me count the ways how this doesn't make any sense. First of all, are we supposed to take it that the spotlight is what lit up the darkness before? What about the clearly starlit sky? Where does the spotlight come from? What is the spotlight attached to? Seeing it's outside. Did Mora not hear the crowd before? Was everyone in on it? What they have done if they didn't stop Mora before she reached the stairs? Why is no one but Mora up there when we saw her walk arm in arm with Minos next to Miles behind Sarah? Did they leave? If so, how did they know this was gonna happen? Were they warned? If so, why wasn't Mora? How was the others warned when Mora wasn't?
I know writers who could fart on paper and have that be a better page than this.
And seeing Mora was the second special guest, obviously that means that Alejandra is there as well. And boy oh boy did there go a lot of double-sided tape into that outfit. Don't you think it's funny that I've been blessed with far better form, yet have not degraded myself to your level? Alejandra then reveals that the one she was referring to earlier when saying she won him over was Edward, the obvious self-insertion into the comic of Ed Fox. Edward explains that he doesn't know what's going on, but he's still forever Mora's, and Alejandra is furious over the fact that Mora doesn't give two shits about Edward. Yeah, you black-hearted witch! Only little did you know that it was completely one-sided! Edward's been more of a stalker than anything else, and as far as I care, you can keep him! And we get this little chibi picture of Edward.
Crushed hearts are hilarious.
We move on to Rachel, who is hunting down Sarah, and we are told how Rachel doesn't want them to be out in the open, because then they would get caught. You would think this would have been a conversation they would have before going to the party, or during the time where Sarah was doing the puppy dog eyes on Rachel. Speaking of which, the comic does the exact same joke it did back then, with Rachel having done a long, serious speech, and then Sarah dismissing it immediately afterwards.
A joke is only funny if you can't see it coming from a mile away. Or in this case, when you can see it coming from a mile away, and it's as funny as reading an obituary.
Enter this guy, Randall, who wants to dance with Sarah and her sudden missing nose. When Rachel refuses to let her out of her sight, she then accompanies the two to go out dancing. Talk about being the third wheel. And so they go dancing. Sarah seems to be a perfect dancer, while Rachel seems to be dancing like a drunk narcoleptic girl with Parkinson's and crutches.
And so this is probably the best time to talk about targeting your audience.
Do you know why there's not a pie to the face joke in Breaking Bad? Or a school shooting in Winnie the Pooh? That's because those writers, unlike these guys, know what and who their audience is. Breaking Bad is for the adult people, and so its contents are targeted towards the adult audience. Stuff such as drugs, murder, money laundering, and a life of crime are all told to the audience in a way that the audience gets, and maybe even has to work a little to find out. With Winnie the Pooh, however, well, it's a kids show. There's nothing that would shock a kid, nor make them question their own mortality, and the jokes aren't about life after death and politics either. When we keep that in the back of our minds and look at Les Linda's, you got a comic here that has the themes of sex, drinking, violence, eviction, and more sex, which are all adult themes. Yet then you get these childish jokes and ways of portraying stuff that can actually feel kind of insulting for a more mature audience. It's so obvious that the creators of this comic never really sat down and thought who their story was for, nor what they are trying to do with this comic, but instead just thought they'd try to hit as many people as possible.
It's a lot like the recent DashCon fiasco, having both a panel called BDSM 101 and a freaking ball pit at the same con for the same people. I'm not saying that these guys are incredibly poor writers. Oh, wait. That's actually exactly what I'm saying.
So after the catastrophe that is Rachel dancing, Randall and Sarah try to excuse for Rachel's inability to dance. That's when the cuddly romantic song comes on and Sarah pushes Rachel against Randall, who goes, "Relax, you're in good hands," and also the most amazing chest push known to man. So, I gotta admit, I'm kinda pleasantly surprised that we get to focus so much more on someone that's not our dear Mary Moo, Mora. But wouldn't you know it, Mora quite literally comes in and steals Randall away from Rachel as they are slow dancing, not even bothering to wait till the song is over.
I'm sorry, but the test was positive. You're a basic bitch.
Mora asks if Randall doesn't recognize his little wife anymore, and that's when Randall finally realizes that it's Mora. What then follows is several lines of Randall just exclaiming how Mora is the hottest thing since Christy Mack, but hey, that's the life of a Mary Sue. Now it's time we check in on Miles, or maybe one of his identical twins, seeing he's taken another drastic personality change. Now he's in full-on dick mode. He's explaining how he has danced with so many girls that he has lost count, and Taffy apologizes for not being much of a dancer. Not much of anything fun when you think about it, really. But I still love you in a way, I guess.
Oh my god, punch him.
You've been avoiding me, and all I need you to do is show me you care as much as I do. What do you say to catching up on lost time back in your room after we get back?
Punch him.
And then Miles cops a feel of Taffy's breasts under her dress with the sentence, "Come on, don't you love me?" To which Taffy is having a hard time answering. This gets Miles super pissy and he says, "Yeah, well I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind. I want sex. Sex is intimacy. Sex is fun. You treat me like I'm some kind of terrible person because I say that, but that's a part of having a girlfriend. You screw her."
Punch the fuck out of him.
Taffy then replies with how she doesn't even know Miles and she moved in too fast, which is true, and goes on about how she wanted to know Miles more before getting intimate with him. That's when Miles finishes up with saying that he'd bet that Taffy was only hanging on for the money.
She's living off from savings, Miles. There is abso-fucking-lutely no possible way that she could be making any less than she is making now. So Taffy, will you please, for the love of fucking God, punch him!
Taffy is in complete disbelief and says it almost feels like Miles is calling her a whore. And Miles finishes off with saying he is indeed calling her a whore. You know, the only girl thus far that has shown a little restraint.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Taffy finally loses her shit and says they are through after throwing the punch in Miles' face.
That's not what I meant when I said that you should punch him, and you fucking well know it!
We cut to Itward, who sits by himself being super sad. That's when these two appear. Now, let's imagine for a second that I don't have a huge problem with there suddenly being two small slutty fairies and we are just expected to roll with it and instead talk about what one of them says. "Enlighten us to the source of your lamentation, great artist."
Oh yes! Stroke that ego so good girl, yeah!
Apparently these two slutty fairies are Itward's muses, known as Din and Jin. They convince Itward not to give up on his hopes for Mora's affection, and Itward exclaims that it's time to do something epic. We have to wait to see what that is, however, as we cut to Mora dancing with Minos, but just as they are about to kiss, Alejandro cuts in asking for people's attention. That's when Mora says, "She did that on purpose, I'm sure."
Yeah! Sucks when someone ruins your tender moment with someone, doesn't it, you dumb freaking bitch?
What Alejandro cut in for is simply because apparently before someone can get the prize, they have to go up on stage and do a speech. That is code speak for get on stage and shit talk your opponent, it would seem, and say how hyped you are. Apparently, Alejandro thinks she is pretty hype and she constantly compliments herself and says how she is so super sure to win.
Basically, this is just like every teenager competition movie where the poshy rich number one team only talks about winning and acting like hot shit. Guys, your comic is at this point at the same height as High School Musical.
Continuing the teenager competition movie trope, now it's Mary Moo's turn to get on stage and do her speech. All she basically says is how she doesn't care much about winning cause she has already won her boyfriend and her friends and the family she has on the farm.
Boo! Play Freebird!
Then she continues to the better woman bullshit where she basically asks Alejandra if they can be friends again.
Oh fucking eat my dick.
I can get behind Mora turning a new leaf and becoming a more friendly person, but now she's made a complete character shift. And it's so sudden. You don't get the gradual change at all. Now she's just basically Jesus Christ incarnated. Anyway, Deus Ex Machina steps on stage and says, "Be it Mora's determination or Alejandra's ambition, a winner was not clearly in sight. Until now." And the winner is...
And you'll have to wait till next time to figure that out. Remember to pledge on my Patreon and I'll see you guys at the next webcomic release. Take care.
And Justin Finch Fletchley too. That's the life of a Mary Sue.
It's a fucking tie!
I'm sorry. What?
A tie! Which basically makes Deus Ex Machina's comment about it being easy to find a winner a lie, seeing there's no winner if it's a freaking tie. Also, fucking how? Look at this chart. You can't even see Las Lindas because the farm is so shit. And now it's up there having a tie with the best farm in Gossamer? How? There's no way they'd be able to turn it around so much that they are able to equally compete with a major friggin' company. Especially when there's only 3 people on the farm doing actual farm work. Even Alejandra is calling bullshit all over this bitch's face and says that this is a sacred event and Deus Ex Machina can't just change the rules whenever she feels like it.
Hey bitch, are you not seeing fucking Mary Sue over there? If she lost, that would be good writing, and we can't very well fucking have that now, can we?
Deus Ex Machina then explains, "Your business may be large, but it is no longer expanding. And Mora's enterprise may have so little, but it is leagues ahead of what it used to be." This is the fucking dumbest! Alejandra tried to expand her company by buying Las Lindas, but Deus Ex Machina stopped her. And Las Lindas being leagues ahead of what it used to be, how the fuck is that fair? Just be super shitty all up to one point and then call in all your favors all at once? Also, need I remind you that Mora is having a farm where only 2 people are actually paid and not getting vacations and working weekends. How is that not taken into consideration when coming up with these bullshit rules? She has freaking illegal workers on her farm. How is she not disqualified?
This is terrible! Terrible! There's only so many ways I can tell you guys that these writers sucks ass! You could literally make a better story by not writing a single letter or draw a single frame!
On the next page, the creators seem to have suddenly remembered that women have nipples. I just so happen to know that women have tape or pads to avoid stuff like that happening, and that it's apparently terrible agony if you don't. But hey, fan service!
That plot!
To further rub salt into the wound, Deus Ex Machina asks the 2 if they are okay with this. Marimu is obviously super cool with this, seeing she's basically receiving a freaking half victory simply for being more loved by the writers. Tootsie stops Alejandra for flipping her tits and says that if she complains, she will be disqualified. She will be disqualified for questioning the super biased judge, but Mora, having underage and illegal workers on the farm and not giving them vacation, is the freaking recipe for success. Marimu, in the meantime, says she just wants to talk and work stuff out with Alejandra, and Deus Ex Machina confirms that if Alejandra does indeed complain, she'll be disqualified, and Mora will be the sole winner.
Basically, Alejandra is being given a shit and she has to eat it and she better fucking enjoy it.
Alejandra, being the only likable character thus far, does what everyone would and gives the judges the shit they deserve for being super biased and treating her unfair. Itwood, in the meantime, uses this time to exact his epic revenge, which is to give Alejandra bunny ears. Bunny ears! The epic thing you're going to do is bunny ears. Bunny ears! In a world where there are actual bunnies with real fucking bunny ears! Oh my fucking god! This comic isn't even published as a book, so it can't even be used as good kindling. Moving on, cause we are almost at the end now. Tootsie pulls Itwood away and accidentally yanks off Alejandra's dress right there on the stage. Quickly disregarding that, Deus Ex Machina continues, telling that they will indeed review the judging, but Mora has won this festival fairly.
No, she didn't! She literally just won because the judges are bullshit, the comic is horribly written, and Alejandra didn't take the shit sitting down!
Deus Ex Machina reveals that she did indeed pull some strings to get Marimu in the tournament, and she did it because she apparently had or has a thing for Minos. So much for winning this shit fairly. We move on to the only thing I'd less see than Marimu winning, which is Miles being super butthurt because he now believes he's going to get fired for no reason. In fact, why are you pissed? You guys won! Now you might actually get paid. But hey, this is what Idiot thinks is drama, so let's just roll with it. Miles bumps into Taffy and they talk. Taffy apologizes for throwing the punch in his face and says how they can work this out. Miles doesn't want to, however, because he'd always be wondering if he'd be good enough for her, wondering if one more date or one more bouquet of flowers would earn him the love he needs. That's when Taffy says, "I'm allergic to flowers. If you ever got me any, you would know that."
That's why I agreed to work on a farm!
Shortly after, Minos comes up to Miles and uppercuts him, saying he needed that and wishes him better luck next time. This shouldn't be Minos doing this. Minos has nothing to do with this. Minos should stay the fuck out of this. This is not his beef, and he shouldn't meddle with it. As much as I want to see Miles in pain and agony, this is somehow not satisfying, cause Minos has nothing to do with this. We then move on to Mora just straight up hiring Randall, just like that. No setup or anything, she just does that. And Randall says yes, because I guess he had nothing better to do. They are, however, interrupted by Edward here, wishing to talk with her alone. That's when Marimu says that she's gotta admit that it was ballsy of Edward, to put that witch in her place, even though while on stage, she acted like they were the best buddies and she wanted them to get along.
And there is another thing we can add to our ever-expanding list of shit that's wrong with Mora. Being two-faced.
Anyway, because I guess someone screamed loud enough in the comment section, now Edward has to work at the farm as well to add some more man meat. If you can call whatever this floppy bastard is a man, that is. That's when we find out that Digit apparently can see the slutty fairies and no one else can, seeing it's only the people the fairies chooses that can see them. How I would have loved for this to be introduced properly, but the assholes of Cello, Cellcat and Idfox seems to be ever expanding with the amount of stuff they are pulling out of it. And so this chapter ends with everyone looking up in the sky and someone has apparently found Sarah and her boobs, which they were looking for.
Okay. Show of hands. Who of you said that this was going to be better after part 3? You will have to form a straight line over here, and I will personally, one by one, slap the shit out of you for lying. Yeah, come on. Don't be shy. Yeah, that's fine. What? What? It was going to get better? Yeah, look at me. Yeah, it was going to be... Fuck you! Fuck more! Fuck it! Dumb whore! No! Fuck you!
I've had the time of my life. No, I never felt like this before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you.
With my body and soul, I want you more than you
I think I broke my hand by slapping people too hard. Well, I guess that's what you get. This episode has been made possible by a bunch of awesome people, one of which being Skidd, the creator of the amazing webcomic known as UberQuest. UberQuest is arguably one of the best things. No, wait, it is the best thing that you'll find on Catbox. Next up we got Alix J. Alix J has been supporting this show for quite a while now. I asked her what the comic was about, and it's apparently a workplace comedy with grim reapers. That sounds really interesting. And next up we got Shane Asher, who supported the show once again. Shane tells me that if you want to see what The Strays is about, you can go to his DeviantArt page, which is Nayola298, where you can read the first pages of the comic and see some awesome concept art. And some other people who have supported the show, we got the one and only David Lillie from Dreamkeepers and Emanicas. If you want to support the show, you can do so on the Patreon. Just go to www.patreon.com/Riser with 2 eyes. And once again, you don't have to. It's much appreciated, but you don't have to. So, thank you guys for watching. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.